Hey there viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. Got this 89 Chevrolet Corvette here. We just had in a previous video, and we diagnosed it as having some bad injectors, which come to find out is not too uncommon. I'll put a link there to part one in case you missed that, but in this one here we're going to take, and I've got some brand new injectors for it, we're going to throw those in there and verify our diagnosis. I tell you what, first thing I did is put this thing up on a lift so you can stand to work on it. Got these things right down on the ground, so kind of make it a little easier. Get some of the throttle linkage off here. I guess we got to pull the, looks like we got to pull the upper intake, possibly these tubes here that run to the lower intake. We'll find out. I see they got bolts running every which way on them. A couple going in from this side, one coming in from the back side. I'm sure we'll find out before long. I don't see many of these old engines around here. I could take the throttle cables and cruise, and it's like TV cable here. I could take them out of this bracket, but this old crap, the less plastic stuff you can touch, the better. Typically, things will start breaking on you. Well, it looks like we got to unhook the throttle valve cable here anyways. That runs through the intake. Set that to the side. See, the throttle body's got a coolant hose going to it. So I think what we'll do, instead of pulling the throttle body with the intake here, I don't know if it came with that gasket or not, but maybe we'll leave the throttle body right on. Or take the throttle body off, leave the hoses hooked to it. That way we don't have to fiddle with any old hoses. I'll see if it comes with the gasket. I don't think it does, but that's the only thing I don't like about working on old cars. It's like everything you touch breaks. But it's just old plastic, you know. It's nothing like this modern day stuff. Yeah, it does. Actually, it comes with the throttle body gasket. I can see it in there. So we're safe. We'll yank that baby off. The other thing you gotta be careful with these old cars is electrical connectors too, not just, you know, plastic hoses and such. As electrical connectors are quite delicate. But you can see we've got a heater hose down here and another one coming out this side. So must be she sucks in so much air it keeps her from freezing up, I guess. This way there, we don't have to worry about messing with that. There, I think that's all it's hooked. Yep, that should be plenty enough, I think, to get out of our way. Kind of keep these connectors back. And then this throttle body will stay right back on our way, hopefully. So you got some fuel lines down here. I don't know if we're going to have to pull those fuel lines. Yeah, we'll probably have to pull them fuel lines to pull the rail. So, okay. So it looks like it has just a couple bolts here on top. Now we got a vacuum hose for the booster. We'll see if we can loosen these up. 10 mil there, and see if we can just get the upper off out of our way. Unless I'm missing something here. Grab a 10 deep. So we got our brake booster hose. Oh, it's right tight to that distributor too. Okay, so here's the situation. So we need to get this brake booster hose right here unscrewed from the intake, but it's right tight against the distributor cap. So we got to get that unplugged. Obviously without breaking it, if all possible. I would simply just remove the distributor, or the distributor cap, to get to that, but the screws that go down into the distributor look angry. And I don't want to bust the screws off in the distributor and have to deal with that whole mess. I mean, it's repairable, but the whole idea here, I think, is to not break stuff. See if we can get a wrench on it. See if we can remove the other power wire here from the distributor. Not breaking the tab on that. Alright. It's like disarming a bomb. I mean, I've never disarmed a bomb, but I imagine it would be very, very stressful. I just can't ever get it right here. Let me grab another 5/8 wrench, see if that works. That was easy. So it looked like the piece that goes into the intake took an 18mm wrench, and the actual flare nut was a 5/8. Quite enough pizzazz for that. Okay. Careful. Looks like I got a couple of vacuum lines here. This one must be for cruise control. This one looks like it's a fuel pressure regulator. Must be an intake air temperature sensor way under there. Let's see if we can't push the connector off from it. Alright, we got that. I think that's it. Maybe. We'll look on the other side. But I don't see anything else. Unless I'm blind here. I'll look over there. Huh. What thunder! Gee, I'm not missing a mystery bolt here or something. Oh, I see. Okay, I'll show you what happened, or what's happening. So what's going on is these gaskets are supposed to stick to the these intake runners. They've got plastic, these little plastic doodads here, little push retainers. You see them how they kind of stick up there. Well, typically this gasket, it's pretty well bonded to the upper plenum here. This would have been stuck to that, but what it was doing, because they were stuck to the plenum, it doesn't look like we're the first people here. A lot of cookie wheel marks here. A lot of cookie wheel marks on the throttle body too. It's not this old girl's first rodeo. Well, being an '89, I wouldn't expect that she was some kind of virgin, so we'll just keep going. I don't know if we have to pull these lower tubes or not to do the injectors. Looks like we might be okay. A closer look here. Kind of give you an idea how things are looking. Okay, got our throttle body here. Injectors lay right underneath these two rails. Like I say, I don't know. We actually have to pull these off. To be honest with you, guess we'll find out. One thing we do need to do is unhook the two fuel lines here, that pressure and return line. Got that one loose. Got that one loose. All right. I think we spun off. Now I didn't pull the fuel pump relay or any of that business, so might be a little bit of residual pressure here on the line. Two big Torx bits holding them on. And they go right in front of that fuel rail. All these injectors unplugged. Can't really mix these connectors up because, like I mentioned in the first video, they're all the same, so you don't really have to worry about that much. Go do the other side. These connectors over here have been changed. All black wires. Take and unhook our EGR valve right here. The hose kind of hangs over that rail. So what we might better do is pull these bolts out and see if this fuel rail comes loose. First thing we ought to do is prevent any accidents. You know me. Up these tubes. I want to take and if this rail, if this is going to come apart this way, I'd like to blow some of this dirt and crap out of here. Okay. Same on this side. Okay, get some of this crap blasted out of here. So two of the bolts here are underneath these upper intake runners. Hopefully the bolt's not like a mile long, so come out without hitting it. Got this one back here too, kind of sits under the these intake ports here. Oh, comes right out, perfect. Good, well I'll get the rest of these out. Holy smokes, they're tight. And we'll see if we can sneak them up out of there. I don't see why not, personally. Need to do is get these fuel lines out with a little bit of residual fuel in there, not much. That rag got most of it. Looks like the O-rings on these things are pretty well hammered. We'll get these lines out and see if the trail comes off. I'm going to take and give the bottoms of these injectors a little shot of the silicone spray here. It's been my discovery. You start pulling these injectors up out of their holes, not these injectors in particular, but injectors in general. O-ring wants to get all kind of waffled up on you, and this will help, you know, in the event they start to move, to kind of get them up out of there. I'll do both sides. See if we can't take and gently massage these babies up out of their hole. A lot of times the O-rings on injectors will stick down in the hole too. Looks like all four of these came out with O-rings attached. I'll go do the other side. What I'm thinking now that I'm looking at this rail may not come up past these tubes. That appears that's going to be the case. So I guess with that being said, it looks like we'll probably have to pull the minimum of one side, so we'll see if we can't just pop one side off here. See if that helps us. I was going to get the tools to pull this intake off. And, well, I tell you, there's quite a few. There's these Torx bolts that are really kind of buried down in here, which require pulling this wiring harness, and you know, you got to pull this harness up to get the fresh air breather hose out, you know, to get in there to get to the Torx bit. You got to pull a bunch of crap off the front here to get to the very front Torx bit, which you guys can't see in here. It's kind of, you know, it's stuffed way up under there. So like I say, I don't really care much for working on these old cars, because it seems to be, you know, all this plastic stuff and, you know, old rubber hoses. Everything you touch kind of tends to deteriorate, just given the age. So I see we've got, you know, a fair amount of room. I'm just wondering if we can pull the injectors out right where they sit. The release mechanism for them is right up here on top. Just kind of, oh, there she goes. Oh, she's driving by. It's that person in that green Dodge. All right, so we take and release the lock on the injector. And the little lock comes right out. If you can see that or not. That's the little injector lock. I want to see if we can just change some of these, or all of these, hopefully. Perhaps right in place. We're gonna have to be pretty darn careful with this little lock, I'll tell you that. Let me get a little magnet. We'll weasel this one out of there. Before we have a boo-boo, cover up these injector holes underneath the injector so we don't risk, if this works, we don't risk dropping those little metal clips, little metal retainers. I don't know if they're magnetic or not. Let me check on the ones I took out. They are magnetic. See if I can't weasel this out of here. This would be great if we can do it this way, because then we don't have to mess around pulling this rest of this intake. That one appears to want to stay in the injector, so we'll leave sleeping dogs lie. See if we can't just weasel, pop that right out of there. Look at that. Keep that lock open. Tip my screwdriver's magnetic. Yeah, stop it. Alright. I need 2 screwdrivers. One to hold that lock. My screwdriver's magnetic, so it keeps pulling the lock over. Hold it in the unlock position. Oh, she comes. There it is. Uh-oh. I don't see... Looks like that little lock that was on that other one must be a broken one, because this lock here certainly looks different than the this one here. I wonder if somebody's already been here before. Well, let's keep on moving. Get this one unlatched here. Will I find one of these clips today or not? I don't even know if they're 100% necessary once the fuel rail is bolted on. I have to cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess. That one's a little snug. See if I can push on the opposite side there. Oops. Kind of a tough one to record so you guys can see what I'm doing, but we'll get things out where you can see it and we'll go from there. There we go. These might be a little bit more of a pain in the neck to put back in than they are to take out, I imagine. Kind of. Maybe we'll do this side first before we go on the other side, because if we gotta tear it apart, we gotta tear it apart. That's all there is to it. The O-ring stayed up inside on that one. And make sure you keep track of that. See if you can't feel it up in there. There she is. There's the O-ring. This one's a little tricky, kind of course we're not worried about damaging the injector. They're already junk, so we can kind of do whatever we want with that. Kind of have to line it up in the intake hole there. Kind of O-ring's kind of folding up on us. We can't kind of pry it down, line it up. Spring straight back up in there, that sucker. Come on. Alright, looks like the O-ring wants to stay up into that one too. Just have to make sure that's what it does, make sure it stays. Alright, set that to the side. Cover up them holes before we try to cover the O-ring. There she is. Alright, well, I just did a bunch of poking and trying to find these injector clips. Does not look like it's going to happen. Found a good Delphi number. So with these clips, you have to just kind of take them off. You just have to pop them off your old injectors and slide them on your new ones. Like I said, I found a Delphi number for them, but no availability, not through Amazon, nowheres. So at any rate, we're gonna keep moving forward. I got some other options. I tell you what, we'll just start right down here where we left off. We got a little silicone spray. Kind of help us along here. I don't think it'll be a big deal not having a clip on it, because I'm pretty certain that once these are down in the hole in the lower intake, I mean, if they're captured, I don't believe they can go anywhere. And I gotta wiggle these ones down in the lower to get them lined up with this upper. Get our retainer lined up where it needs to be. Let's kind of situate things around here. This part of the process is a little more delicate. To go up in there. Open that fuel rail. Yeah. Try one here that's a little bit more exposed. do is we'll just leave that one right there for the time being. Grab a different one here. These O-rings are super tight. Okay. Yeah, we may have to kind of stink to have to tear this whole thing apart just to get them back in, you know. Oops. Get it lined up here. I wonder kind of get a little better leverage here with our pliers, just kind of pushing up on them. Oops. Huh. Trying to kind of work it around there a little. Definitely are snug. We're not hitting our metal clip. We get some pliers with a 45 on the end of them. Let's see if these will kind of allow us to Boy, we're going straight up in, but maybe we'll try a different lube on those O-rings. That's definitely what is binding us up here. Let me get more of a, I don't have any silicone paste here, but I've got brake caliper grease. See if the O-rings just feel rock hard anyways. You gotta be careful what you put on O-rings. It has to be O-ring safe or synthetic, I guess. Non-petroleum. Alright, we'll see if that will help that slide up in there a little better. See if we can figure out a method here. The boxes these injectors came in look like they're about as old as the car. Must have been sitting on a shelf at the parts store for quite some time. Ah, well, there's your problem. You got to use the right kind of lube. Now we got to get the lock back in. You can reach behind. I know this is very difficult to record, but you can reach behind the intake. And you can feel, let me get an injector here. So on the front side here, you can see this little tang, and on the back side you can feel this one. So you give it the old classic reach around, and you can feel that. Kind of guide it in, and reach over here with your screwdriver. You can just make sure it flicks all the way shut, which shouldn't be an issue once you get it started. Just kind of push that tang all the way over. All right, let's see if we can do this maybe 8 more times. That slides up in there so much easier than just the silicone spray. There you go, you just kind of work it. Well, you can actually lock that lock tab right in, just wiggling around and getting it from the back. Just make sure it's locked in, good to go. There's two, beautiful. Makes life so much easier. Hold that sucker from the back there. Just barely feel this one in my pinky back there. There it is. Kind of got to get the clip's kind of a pain because you have to. There's a couple slots it's got to line up in the fuel rail, so I would say, definitely don't force it. It feels like it lined up there. Doesn't want to just slide right in, so keep kind of messing with it here till we get it. Well, there's no sense in recording the whole, 4 more over here on this side is pretty much the process. Just gonna, open that retainer up, pull the injectors out, and slide the new ones up in. Silicone grease or the silicone paste or brake caliper grease, whatever you have there, seemed to be better than the actual ultra slippery silicone spray that I had here. That didn't seem to work worth the beans as far as getting those O-rings to go up in. So keep that in mind. It's it kind of sucks about this one clip that seems to have been broke. I mean, it doesn't look like anything fresh. Just that half a piece in there. And the options are pretty limited on that. GM doesn't make them anymore. The Delphi ones I can't seem to find. So what I'll do is I'll just, Vanessa's making lunch right now, so I'll eat some lunch. I called on the junkyard. Maybe they've got one of these intake manifolds or something sitting up on the shelf. Maybe we can, rob a clip out of. I don't know. It's pretty slim chance there. And I'll take a ride down to my dad's shop. He used to have this big yellow kit of like old common carburetor parts, that would have all kinds of, like throttle clip retainers and little mini cotter pins. And if I remember right, man, he's had that thing since like the late 80s, when fuel injection first came out and everybody was panicking, them old time mechanics, with throttle bodies and port fuel injects, what are they going to do? So they had these little, it was a relatively large kit. I don't know if he still has that thing kicking around. I remember it used to have injector retainer clips in it. And so I'll go see if he can dig through his archive and maybe he's got something kicking around there. Otherwise, what I think we're going to have to do at this point is put that half broken one back in. Currently I've left that injector out over there, but like I say, once it's in and it's in the rail and they're all, down in the intake, it's not like it can really go anywhere. And I certainly think that, half one here that we have, this little broken, half moon piece, it'll lock half the injector in. So I'm sure it'll be okay. We'll just have to take it from there. Huh?
Your lunch is ready.
My lunch is ready. What'd you make?
Sandwich and some pasta. And if you're good and you eat all your lunch, there might be dessert.
Ooh. Where is it?
It's right there.
Ooh. Homemade SpaghettiOs?
Yeah.
Did the crap out of the can.
Homemade, they're really difficult.
Looks pretty yummy.
She already had some SpaghettiOs.
Oh, did she? Sheba. You can't fit under the door anymore, girl. Yeah, well, lunch is over. I took a little ride, and I guess even as we get older, our parents can still save us Well, them babies. Not only did I get one, I got two. Thankfully, like I say, I went down to my dad's shop and I remember that he's, like I say, had that big old kit of old carbureted stuff. Well, it gets pretty well toast, you know, but I'll be darned, I look in one corner for fuel injection clips and must be a dozen of these suckers. So I robbed two of them off him, told him the story that you can't get them, and he told me they're $100 a piece if I need them. So I told him I'd let him know if I used them. That's kind of a cool thing about them old time mechanics, you know, they got little stuff all around. I'm gonna take and I guess I didn't show you that really, how these clip on. It's pretty straightforward, but they just snap on the injector. I'm gonna finish doing the passenger side. Gonna get this side knocked out. I'll kick the camera on when we're done. Okay, we got that all done. So now we're gonna take the injector rail here, just gonna line it up so the injector's just sit in a hole. Take our ultra slippery silicone spray. Just gonna spray it on top of all these O-rings. The bore for the bottom intake manifold is tapered, so I assume these are going to go easier. It's going to get the hole lubed up there. I would like to think they would go easier. Of course, we're trying to do several at a time, but you just kind of got to work them a little bit there. Yep, and they slip right down in. Beautiful. Got a couple bolts started on this side. I'm just going to go over the other side and do the same thing. Of course, we've already lubricated the bottom O-rings there on this side, you know, the first go around. I'm starting to think we probably should have used some more silicone paste, brake lube, something of that nature. Just because they just don't go nearly as easy with the ultra slippery silicone lube. When they go, but there, good. Get these bolts tightened down and finish putting it together. say these O-rings are pretty pretty nasty looking here. See if I can get this off without dropping it. There really ain't anything to them. Could be somebody put the wrong kind of O-ring on it whenever they did whatever kind of service they did last. It's hard to say. But that's the O-ring, pretty well flattened out. Doesn't really all eat to pieces there. So I got to get one of those. I think I've got some of these here. Looks like both the pressure and the return line are 3/8. There's the other one. Looking pretty ratty too. See if I got a couple of them. We'll throw them out and get these fuel lines hooked back up. Okay, get these on here without dropping them. There's one. I do tend to drop a few things. Alright, there's two. Beautiful. I don't want to say it, but those are the only two I had. If I said that first, you know darn well I would have dropped one. Okay, get these fuel lines back up on here. He's snugged up, get the bracket back on. You better look. Yeah, we can put the bracket on after they're tight, I guess. Okay, we're good to go. I think what we'll do, get these snugged up and I'll get the bolts put back in that. You know what, before I even put the bolts in that, probably the smartest thing to do is kick this fuel pump on and make sure we don't have any leaks before we go through the trouble of putting all this intake and all this crap back on. And you know, be ashamed to find out, you know, something happened, folded up an O-ring or just, you know, anything. We'll get these snugged up. Before I even put the bolts in there, I think it'd probably be a wise idea. Perfect. So even though I got a bunch of, you know, sensors and things unplugged, I mean, really just got the throttle body unplugged, distributor. A lot of these old Chevys had fuel pump prime connectors. I don't see it on this one. Usually, you know, on the car stuff, there's a little red wire that hang out by itself by the battery, and you can actually prime just the fuel pump with that wire. I don't know if this vintage has it. It may. If it is, it's nowhere's hanging out obvious down by the battery or anything where they typically are. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn the key on and off a bunch of times, make sure we've got fuel pressure, and if we do, we're just going to keep on trucking, because I think that's the easiest way to do this one. Well, hopefully that was priming. Yeah, I can't hear the pump. Give a little push on this Schrader valve. See if that was boosting the pump or not. Oh yeah, woo, lots of pressure. Or we shouldn't have had any because, you know, we just had this whole mess of parts, so looks like we're in good shape. I'll double check up here, make sure we got no leaks, and finish this up. All right, we look like we're pretty dry. Oh man, I just realized that every time I lean against this car, whoa, thing shakes all over, but the camera's mounted to the car, so hopefully it's not as bad on your end. But I gotta have this thing up on the lift. Otherwise, you're all humped over all the time trying to work on these things. Or yeah, it's just foil tape. It's the same stuff they use like in the heating business for sealing up ducts. So I guess it would be duct tape, but it's actually the foil tape kind. You know, it's like foil. Here comes the meat wagon. So I find it works well for stuff like this. It's time for a little break. I'm working hard. Plus I didn't eat my dessert. And being that I ate all my lunch, I get my dessert. Homemade tiramisu pie. So it's pretty good. It gets pretty nuked because the whole top half is like coffee beans and stuff of that nature. So I think what we ought to do is once we get it all back together is do another current amp test on those injectors, kind of see what these, you know, brand spanking new ones look like compared to the ones in the old video, and you know, to see what kind of amperage they draw and see what the waveform looks like, and of course we'll have to go out and test drive it, warm it up, make sure all those problems are gone, and give it back to them. That was amazing. Whew. Snack time's over. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna stick our new gaskets on here. We got those little pegs. This one has an R stamped on it. Ooh, you big dummy. Good thing I saw that. Boy, I tell you what, everything lines up except that EGR tube is off just a smidgen. And that one's got an L stamped on it. Man, that would have been a critical mistake. Rookie. It doesn't look a whole lot different than the other side. I'll put the left on the left and the right on the right. Jeez. Well, I guess that's it. We'll see, hopefully we can just slip the old intake down in there without any problems. I'm gonna have to line up our brake booster back here. That was kind of a pain. And I could have taken the whole brake booster hose off, but there's a bracket. Actually, you know what? I think there's a little treat down there. Oh, look at that. Psh. Corvette. I think this must go on his valve cover over here. Yep. So it looks like his little valve cover down there fell off. Let's kind of stick that to the side. Anyhow, the brake booster goes onto a bracket that bolts to the back of the head, and there ain't no getting to that. You know, none too easy. So it's definitely easier to fool with getting that nut off that brake booster fitting on the intake than it is trying to get the whole hose undone. So we kind of got to line that up. Plus we got a couple vacuum hoses. Shouldn't be too big a deal. We'll get her done. Let's see. Okay, brake booster's lined up, and I tell you what, it doesn't look like we knocked the gasket off, so let's get the brake booster not started. That might be easier, being able to wiggle around the intake. Okay, that started no problem. So now that we've got that started and our gasket stayed intact, that's good. I wonder if I can fit over that wire now. Probably be the easiest. I can get some pliers and see if I can't get a hold of that intake sensor wire. Get that hooked back up, and then see if we can get some bolts started here. So probably, let's be real careful about this. The easiest ones to do are probably going to be our back two holes there. I think darn sure you got them started though, I'll tell you that. I'll get one started on this side back here. I'll grab another one for the other side. I have to go over there so I can see what the heck I'm doing. That better. Couple back ones started. Attaching a couple vacuum hoses over right here. Don't forget any of them. Guess I should probably tell you this one is pretty clean, like I said, because everything was taken apart. I didn't have to scrape anything. Gasket material all came off easy, even on the throttle body. You know, all the gasket material and stuff came off. Just popped right off, no problem. So. You know, make sure as you're putting it together you don't forget your idle air control valve down here. Got that. We've got our throttle position sensor here. Like I say, we'll wait till we get the intake put on the rest of the way and grab the gasket for that, put that on. Oops, that's the wrong bolt. Whoa! Ah! See, we haven't dropped anything yet. And we just did. That's not where that bolt goes. Remember on the driver's side here, the top hole was the one that took that long one. Remember to put that where it belongs, because that held the, remember it held yeah, the units there. Hold the throttle cable, jeez. I'm having a problem with my words today. We'll get all these on, we'll get these babies torqued down both sides. We're almost finished. Well, I'm glad I saw the marks on that intake gasket as far as the left and right. Boy, they're so stinking close. I almost didn't pay attention, but get looking at them close, it looks like it's where it seals up the EGR tube on that side over there. That would have sucked to have to tear this thing back apart from that. I mean, we would have known. There'd have been a huge vacuum leak. Man, that would have been a terrible mistake. But we didn't let it happen. That's the good thing. Got one vacuum line underneath this throttle body yet. I still got the hook up here. We'll get everything torqued down. So I think we saved a bunch of time. Yeah, we had to fiddle around with a couple injectors to figure out the method, but well, I'll tell you, I think we saved a lot of time not tearing that whole lower half off. Start drawing this intake up here. Okay. Book says 18 foot-pounds on these upper intake runners. Start snugging them up. get another bite under here. Well, it's in a real crappy spot, you know that? Well, to use a crow's foot on a breaker bar. This way here you can, you know, take it off and flip it around and get a couple different angles. Gotta hook up our tack and our battery wire here back on the distributor. If I remember right, back in the day, these old HI ignitions, it's easy to miss that connector when you put it up in, like the spade would push to the side. So if you're ever doing one of these, you get a no start, you know, definitely make sure you've got that hooked up right. Sometimes the easier thing to do is take the coil cover off and you can see your little spade connectors there. I guess we'll hook our throttle cable back up and pretty much done. Now these bolts had a little bit of Loctite on them, so you want to stick a little bit of medium strength Loctite. They had blue on them originally, so make sure you do that. One of them babies falling out on you. There's not many torque specs on these old cars. Boy, you look them up, it's just very basic stuff. Your intake and, you know, bearings and things of that nature. You know, nowadays, man, they got a torque spec for the, you know, glove box screws. But, you know, not saying that you have to use them all. A little common sense goes a really long ways, in my opinion. We'll get all this stuff tightened up. They didn't like to say, you know, we got to tighten up the throttle body. They didn't have a torque spec on that. Basically just upper and lower intake, and that's about it here. Get our throttle valve cable back in here for the transmission. All that kind of fed through there. Click that in and we'll go through and reattach all of our cables. This is a little clip that goes on the throttle linkage. That one's for the cruise control, so I'm going to clip that on. Of course, we had this, looks like GM doubled their spark plug wire holders as a throttle cable holder. So we'll stick that on. Got to snug up the throttle body yet. We didn't do that. So we'll get this kind of snugged up. Oops. Have a heck of a time keeping that socket today. They just use kind of common sense on some of this stuff that doesn't have a torque spec. Make it tight, but not too tight. If I can find the bowl, it'll be in good shape. It's amazing how far plastics and stuff have evolved in cars. You know, you just feel like these old air intake tubes, and my sucker just feels really brittle, and it's a lot different than the stuff on modern cars, that's for sure. Well, when I first started working on cars, let's see, throttle bodies were just coming around. That was a big thing. I remember seeing, you know, 87 Chevys with the 2 injectors, man. I thought that was pretty cool. My dad thought it was a nightmare, you know. Going away with the carburetor. So this would be right around that same era. You know, this must have been quite a big deal in '89, I bet. this is the last piece. I didn't really have to take it off, but you guys really didn't think I was going to forget to use a little bit of brake clean, did you? I feel we kind of owe it to this old beater to put that emblem back on there. Got us a little bit of two-part epoxy here. We'll get all mixed up. Man, I love the smell of this stuff. Reminds me kind of a body shop. I think body shops smell good. I don't know how much to put on there because it's going to ooze a little bit out, but we'll just kind of put a little pile there in the middle. I don't think it's going to take much to hold that thing on. Oh yeah, you can feel it kind of smushing down there. Oh man, that's like 10 horsepower. Yep, it all smushed out. That's good. We'll let that baby dry. Oh, this car's gonna be so nasty now. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get a good reading on it here. Our epoxy should be dry now and let her sit for quite a while. We'll take and measure an injector here. See how many ohms resistance these new ones are. Hopefully around 18. I think that's what their spec was. So that one's 16.1. We'll just measure another one here. That one is 16.1 also. So that's our cold injector spec reading is 16.1. I think spec was 16 to 18 or something there, about 17 to 18, somewhere in there. We're going to take and use our new maxi scope, or our Autel scanner that we have. I'm going to use the amp clamp. Going to fire it up here, assuming it runs, and throw it up on the injector. And see what kind of, we're going to capture the same data like we did last time, and then we'll kind of, just kind of look at it just to see. So, I got this set up the same way we had before, about 5 seconds per division. We'll throw our clamp on there, get a reading, save it, and then go back and look at it. So what we'll do is we'll save this one. Oops, we'll save this as injector good. Well, actually, injector new, how's that? And that was, what, 16.1 ohms. save that, and then we'll just go ahead. Now we know what the resistance is on this front one. We'll take that capture too. Data. Alright, now we'll go take a look at them. There was the first one that we recorded. Just kind of zoom in on this graph. It's a nice looking injector waveform. Nice even ramp. Looks like we're remember, we got to move this. Got a little glitch in their software. I did call Autel. They are supposed to fix that at the end of September this year. So 75 millivolts, so 0.75 amps. Then we'll look at the other one that we took. .6 millivolts, so just about the same amperage draw. Good looking waveforms. And just for the heck of it, we can see what our pulse width was here. Move that cursor, move this cursor. It's like about 3.2 milliseconds. We can kind of compare this to the one of the ones from last time. Actually, a little nicer waveform than we had on the first original ones that were in this car. Seems to be running a whole lot smoother, man. It's feels totally different. I mean, it's still, you know, rattly and rough and all that, but engine-wise, I know it's kind of hard to hear in the video, but it's nice and smooth. No more fish biting or skipping, anyways. Make sure it's warmed up and then take it back and see if it restarts. Seem to have a little bit of an extended crank, but I don't know what's, you know, characteristic of these cars, period. So oh, it's got some crazy bump steer, man. You hit, shakes the steering wheel. These things ride so rough. You hit like one little tiny crack in the road. Well, they say the new ones ride better. I don't know. Loose in second. Pretty warm. Let her sit about 5 minutes. There you have it, viewers. That's the proof. It's hot, it starts. It's got 8 new injectors. Of course, we knew it would because we tested it and found out that these old Multec injectors are junk. They're shorted out. And a couple of people asked, they wanted me to dissect these and do all these experiments and stuff. I'm sorry, frankly, I don't have time today. Of course, recording stuff always takes, you know, makes the job way stretched out, and this job is taking way too long anyways. And you know, even when we're looking at the waveforms, you know, people are stopping in. I'm trying to, so if I seemed a little short, you know, looking at the waveforms, that's just, well, because I was. At any rate, we've got it fixed. I mean, the thing runs great. I mean, it sounds beautiful when it idles. Nice and smooth, no more skipping and popping and bucking going down the road. And, you know, before it ran super rough. So I think we got it fixed, and I'm pretty confident with it. So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Check us out on Facebook and Google Plus if you haven't already. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.